Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. Good to be with you this morning. Here we are in the middle of the week. A couple more days, we'll be to the weekend, and I hope you're looking forward to what's going to happen in the next few days. I hope you're looking forward always to what God's going to do. And maybe you have a hobby or a special thing you can't wait to get to. I talked to someone the other day who plays golf. You can't wait to play golf again. It's a little chilly to play golf right now. I don't even know if the golf courses are open. But boy, you'd get kind of chilly if you went out there now. But if you like winter sports like skiing and snowboarding, oh man, this is a great time for that. So I hope you're looking forward to what God's going to do in your life. I want to share a passage with you from the 15th chapter of the Gospel of John. And it's a little strange, a little harsh at first, but it has something profound to say. Beginning with the 18th verse of the 15th chapter of John, we read these words. If the world hates you, remember that it hated me first. The world would love you as one of its own if you belong to it. But you are no longer part of the world. I chose you to come out of the world, so it hates you. What is Jesus talking about here? Well, he uses the word hate. It's something that evokes lots of hormones and reactions and facial contusions and even maybe violence, as we see sometimes when peaceful demonstrations turn into mobs. Hatred is a word that most of us really don't use to describe ourselves. But yet, there's another word that's much easier, but it eventually leads to the harsher word of hatred. And that's the word dislike. It's one thing to dislike a type of food. Um, some things I like, my wife thinks are horrible, and vice versa. But that's not what Jesus was talking about here. I can dislike blue houses, which means that I don't want a blue house. Maybe there's some who like blue houses. And if they do, that's fine. But if my dislike of blue houses reaches the point where I've got to vandalize theirs because it's blue, then I've moved from like somebody. And then over the time, I start to really get disgusted with them. And then I really move into, I hate that person. And now that's not you, I'm sure. But there are a lot of people out there who do that. You see, Jesus is talking here not about the world around us, the physical world. He's talking about the world in us. So he says here, I took you out of the world. That's why you're not part of it. That's why you no longer can hate, but you can choose compassion and love. How do we get out of the world? Well, some folks, like the Amish around here, dress differently, still use horse and buggies. They use more modern conveniences than what you would think, but they're very distinctive. You can pick them out wherever they are. You can tell. And then there are other people who dress differently than the average person does. Uh, Usually, it's almost always the women, which I find a little odd. Why are they? But we have a lot of people who try to demonstrate they're not part of the world by their outside appearance. But that's not what Jesus is talking about at all. He's talking about the way we relate to people. He's talking about the way that we live our lives. Now, the world rewards success. It rewards viciousness in the marketplace. Uh, Great business leaders are those who take over other people. Carl Icahn is known as a great business person. He turns companies around. But what does he do? He buys a company and he gets rid of tons and tons and tons of employees so that the stock goes up. And he's considered a giant in the field. But what about those employees that lost their livelihood? Nobody ever talks about them. We talk about a ruthless politician, do anything to win, and they win, and they win. And today we hear Congress talking about this or that, and we see somebody siding with one person versus another when previously they sided with the other way. And it just seems to be rather whatever is expedient rather than some kind of a inside driven who they are. Well, Jesus wants us to be different. He says here very clearly, but you are no longer part of the world. I chose you to come out of the world, and so the world hates you. When we live a life of compassion and joy and love and caring, we react differently to those around us than people who don't. One of the things that really bugs me, if you will, are people who hold grudges. Oh, they say, well, I don't hate that person, but yeah, they really do. They dislike them immensely. So where's the difference in the wording there? Well, truthfully, there isn't much. And what did that person do? Oftentimes they can't even remember. It's been going on so long. But yet, if the person who holds a grudge would suddenly start being kind and gracious to the one they hold a grudge against, I'll bet you that relationship would change for the better. You see, when we relate to people with a word of kindness instead of a word of complaint or condemnation, we change the dynamics of the relationship. And that's what Jesus did. Why was the world so mad at him? He didn't advocate overthrowing the authorities. He didn't advocate rebellion. He certainly didn't pick up weapons and challenge the powers of the Romans. Oh, he challenged the religious leaders because he said they were being hypocrites. They were saying one thing and doing another. Why did Jesus get so hated? Well, it's because he treated people equally, even the worst in society. He treated them with kindness and grace. See, he modeled a life that he wants you and I to live. A life that's filled with kindness and compassion and expresses joy to everyone that we meet. If people came to your house and said, I want to describe you, would they say you're a joyful person? Would they say you're a person who always shows kindness? Would they say that you're the kind of person I just want to be around because it's so wonderful being with such a terrific person? I don't know. That's up for you to look at your life and decide. But what I do know is that God wants something better. He wants us to live not like the world teaches us to, but to live like His life and example teaches us to. And we can do it. Might be hard, might take getting rid of some stuff. If you've got some grudges around, you got to get rid of them. And that may not be easy, but you can do it. You can change. You can be the model of a Christian person if you want to. So I hope you'll invite him into your life in a new and special way so that you can demonstrate that to everybody you meet. Well, thanks for listening. Hope you have a great day. If you have any needs or prayer concerns, let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.